In today's book, Nancy Drew offends the country of Canada with her horrible fashion sense. Could we get a new cover picture? Ah, much better. Nancy, Ned, and George have come to Montreal at the request of Ashley Amberton. A blackmailer has targeted 3 employees at Amberton's company, and Nancy needs to figure out who done it. Before we begin, I want to point out that poor, abused Ned is being forced to sleep on the couch. Why is Nancy so cruel to her boyfriend? If anything, he should make Nancy sleep on the couch. She cheated on him in the last book. Nancy interviews the victims, and she finds a mislabeled blackmail letter addressed to news reporter Annette LeBeau. Annette has won many journalism awards, and according to the book's inside cover, she is in love with a dangerous man. That means she also wins this award! Annette leads Nancy to the 5th blackmail victim, Lake Sinclair. Lake is a rich woman whose father runs the 1976 Olympic Stadium. Nancy and her friends arrived in Montreal just in time, actually. 1986 was a big year for the stadium. That was the year they finally installed a roof. Yes, it took them 11 years to get a roof on the Olympic Stadium. Lake's father must not be very good with money. Either way, George is really excited about the Olympic Stadium. That's the main reason she came along on this trip. The other reason George came was to find a French boyfriend, which is awkward because she already has a boyfriend. Look, I know the Nancy Drew Files is really bad with continuity, but seriously! George's boyfriend is going to be a main character 2 books from now. This is a bad time for George to be going out on dates. Nancy and Ned go on a date too. They take a horse-drawn carriage through Old Montreal. Nancy sees Notre Dame and wonders what her wedding to Ned will be like. The author decides this is way too romantic, so they hit the death button and someone tries to run them over. Nancy checks in with her employer, Miss Amberton. When Nancy talks about her progress, Amberton responds with an odd note in her voice. Culprit. She's the culprit. Gotta be. Every time Nancy's employer reacts badly to good news, they're the culprit. Every time. Nancy finds blackmail victim number 6, who has been ordered to put $50,000 in a trash can at Nelson's column. Our heroes decide to do a stakeout to see who picks up the money, but sadly, our heroes are not very smart. They pick a bad stakeout location, and the entire thing is ruined when a bus passes by. Also, things have been a bit tame recently, so the author hits the death button again. Someone with a yellow Mercedes tries to run Nancy over. Lake has the only yellow Mercedes in all of Montreal, so this is a big clue. Nancy breaks into Elaine's house to examine the car. Unsurprisingly, Lake doesn't take this very well. Then again, maybe she does take it well. That night, tickets for the Olympic Stadium arrive in Nancy's apartment. George uses her ticket to go running on the track, while Ned and Nancy go to the press box. The 2 of them start flirting with each other. Ned talks about how great Nancy's legs are, and the author decides to hit the death button again. A mysterious woman in white appears, knocks George out with a drug, and kidnaps her. Oh no! Nancy checks in with Miss Amberton, who has a message from herself. She has a message from the kidnapper. George is hidden somewhere inside a warehouse. Finding George proves to be ridiculously easy until Nancy gets spotted by security. She sets a fire as a distraction, and Ned uses a crane to haul Nancy out of the building. That's right, Ned picks up Nancy with a crane. Sheesh, Ned, she doesn't weigh that much. The unusual vehicles continue as our heroes escape by helicopter. I think the death button has broken due to overuse at this point, because nobody is hurt when the helicopter crashes and explodes. News reporter Annette LeBeau arrives, and she helps Nancy set a trap for Miss Amberton. Nancy confronts Miss Amberton inside her office, while Annette's film crew secretly records the entire confession. Amberton goes to jail, and Annette runs a news story called The Other Side of Evil. That would be the perfect note to end the book on, but the book's title is This Side of Evil. Wow. Ending the book by getting the title wrong. That's a really bad continuity error. The end. Post-book follow-up. Who is the random guy on the cover of this book? Is that supposed to be Ned? Jacques the chauffeur? George's friend Pierre? There is no male lead in this book, so he needs a name tag. Also, I need a name tag for that weird expression on Nancy's face. Is she trying to whistle? The highlight of this book is probably the fast pacing. Every chapter has 2 to 4 scenes, so compared to other books, it feels like things are moving quickly, and Nancy is getting a lot done. Sadly, Nancy doesn't get much done. True, she finds 6 blackmail victims, but for the majority of the book, Nancy has no suspects whatsoever. And every time she does get a suspect, they're immediately cleared in the next chapter. That's the main complaint reviewers have about this book. The mystery aspect is lacking. If you need more proof that not much happens in this story, read the back cover. It's all about George's kidnapping, which takes place on page 100. Either the cover person loves getting spoilers, or they agree that not much is worthwhile in pages 1 to 99. The book still has a lot of good elements to it. The Nancy and Ned romance was sweet. Nancy was unexpectedly sassy while confronting blackmail victim number 6, and the helicopter crash scene was much better than the plane crash in the previous book. Overall, I enjoyed it, even if it's not as good as it could have been. I give Nancy Drew Files 14, This Side of Evil, a 7 out of 10.